Dear friends, throughout the year, I speak publicly and officially, as you know, on 3 occasions. 2 of them are required by law, at the end of February with the presentation of financial results, and another one in June for the annual general meeting of shareholders. And the third one is this one, when I speak directly to you. And many of you are here in person, but many more are joining remotely. You also know that I'm not someone who seeks the spotlight. I truly believe that these days far more is said than is done. That is why when I address you, I try to make it meaningful and something worth your time, sharing how the year has gone and how I see the future of our company is without a doubt one of the most important moments of the year for me. And I choose to do it at Christmas because Christmas brings together many of the values we want to reinforce at ACCIONA. Christmas is a tradition, and as a company that is nearly a century old, we cannot and we do not want to stand apart from tradition. And beyond each person's individual beliefs, Christmas unquestionably promotes universal values such as peace, mutual respect, generosity, and living together in community. Christmas is also a time to gather with family, and while strictly speaking, ACCIONA is not a family, for many of us it feels very close to one. You could say it's our tribe. We share challenges, we take on problems as our own, and we celebrate our successes as if they were personal. And that sense of belonging is one of our greatest assets. That is why every year I repeat the same message. Each and every one of us is an ambassador for our company. All of us are spokespeople, and all of us are responsible for our standing, for the prestige and reputation of our company, and, if you would allow me, of our tribe. So any action that could damage it puts at risk one of the most important assets we have. The most important asset of our professional lives and one of the most important assets in life itself. This year, serious events have occurred that have severely harmed our reputation. I want to tell you with complete honesty that this is one of the toughest professional moments of my life. And I have been through very difficult professional situations. I lived through the crisis and the battles around Endesa, the 2009 crisis, the 2013 regulatory crisis, and COVID, like all of us. Those periods were economically more severe for ACCIONA than what we face today. But this one, personally, is harder because of its impact on reputation, dignity, and honor, all of which being irreplaceable values. It takes decades to build them, and they can be lost in minutes. This has also been the most important asset I have tried to strengthen over my last 22 professional years at ACCIONA. There is no greater disloyalty to all of us than jeopardizing that asset. And no matter how many rules, procedures, and controls are in place, no organization can function without the individual honesty of the people who make it up. We generate more than 20 billion euros in revenue. We are more than 66,000 people. We operate in 40 countries. We work with tens of thousands of suppliers and manage millions of transactions every year. But there is no such thing as absolute control. The only real guarantee of protecting the standing of our brand, which ultimately is the standing of our tribe, is the rigor, honesty, and decency of each one of us. We also operate in an especially complex environment. The media verdict is swift, the presumption of innocence is largely absent, and political and social polarization is intense. All of this creates noise and additional pressure. I would say that fortunately, we also know that headline memory is often short and geographically concentrated. I trust that as the judicial investigation progresses, the integrity of our organization will become clear, as well as our commitment to justice and the effectiveness of our internal control procedures. Our compliance procedures, moreover, have been confirmed by the latest expert report from PricewaterhouseCoopers, which they have delivered to us recently on this matter. Even so, I have considered it necessary to go one step further. That is why today, this morning, a special committee has been created to evaluate and strengthen our compliance systems. And this committee is comprised of three highly respected figures: the former chairman of Spain's securities regulator, the CNMV, Sebastián Tano Alveja, the former chairman of Uría Menéndez law firm, Luis de Carlos, and the chairman of Ernst & Young, Federico Linares, as well as three independent directors from ACCIONA. Their mandate, as its name suggests, is to review our internal control systems in depth and propose solutions and improvements if any are needed. And in addition, as some of you may know, very recently we appointed José Damián Sáez as head of construction in Spain. If you're here, José, I'm sure you are, I wish you the very best of luck. Having said all that, I would like to underscore what matters most. There's no better way to repair any reputational damage than to keep doing what we have always done: work with rigor, with efficiency, and with the conviction that what we do improves people's lives in the countries where we operate. And now please allow me to focus on what is truly important: the evolution of our company, our strategy, and our mission. With the benefit of perspective, our commitment to sustainability, or in other words, our determination to embed social and environmental objectives into our business activity, of course alongside economic objectives, is now irreversible. The strategic bet we made more than 20 years ago has fully taken hold and has become the norm for most companies. What was once an ambitious vision is now standard practice. Our main business lines, each of them aligned around this purpose, are stronger than ever. When we analyze them, we see how a long-term strategy translates into tangible results, real impact, and sustainable growth. As for energy, renewables have become the most competitive and fastest alternative to address global challenges. Falling costs, the electrification of the economy, and the need for energy independence are driving this new model. This is a profound transformation with enormous advantages that also comes, of course, with enormous challenges, including a shortage of distribution and transmission networks and often unexpected regulatory changes. Despite this, at ACCIONA Energía, this year has been a decisive one. We have advanced strategic projects, strengthened our pipeline, and continued an intense program of asset rotation. In infrastructure, global demand continues to grow, in part because many governments took on large amounts of debt during COVID, and now they find it difficult to reduce it, or they naturally turn to concession models or public-private partnerships. And that creates major opportunities for us. Needs for water, sanitation, power grids, and urban and interurban transportation are endless. Against this background, our technical capability, our reliability, and our global footprint become highly valuable competitive advantages. We have reached historic milestones in many markets, in our core markets, and today, ACCIONA Infrastructure has a record backlog, the largest in our history. Meanwhile, Nordex ACCIONA, the company that we founded nearly 25 years ago and later merged with Nordex, it was called ACCIONA Wind Power for those of you who have been around a while, has been a decisive contributor to our group's results. After a very complex period during and after COVID, today it is the undisputed European leader and the world's second largest turbine manufacturer, excluding China. This turnaround to profitability and Nordex ACCIONA's success is a result of outstanding leadership and, as always, the work of its teams, whom I would like to congratulate. And alongside these major divisions, there are other lines of activity that are smaller today, but I don't want to leave them unmentioned because every one of these businesses I mentioned was a small back in the day. No company starts out big. That's why it's curious when people criticize large companies. I would say to them, listen, we all started out small. Entrepreneurs are highly valued by people, and the vision of any entrepreneur is to become a large company, which sometimes seems a bit absurd to me. In any case, I hope these businesses become the drivers and foundational companies of ACCIONA's next chapter. ACCIONA Living, ACCIONA Cultura, Bestinver, ACCIONA Mobility, and other emerging businesses, including, of course, our foundation. All of them continue to grow and consolidate. ACCIONA Service as well. And it depends on you whether they become tomorrow's great engines of growth. But this is not a moment to take stock only. It is also an opportunity to remember who we are and reaffirm our commitments. We will overcome this challenge. We always have. And we will do so without giving up our principles, with transparency and with resolve. Our reputation, as I said, is our most valuable asset. We have built it over decades, and we have built it together. Protecting it is protecting our future. To that end, I repeat my request. I ask you for absolute rigor. And I ask you to always keep in mind that every single individual action affects the entire organization and, of course, all of us and your families and mine as well. I am proud of what we do, of how we work, and of what we represent. I don't need to tell you, but you work at one of the best companies in the world. It may sound like we are from Bilbao, and in some way we are, but it is true. We are recognized in the most competitive countries by the most demanding clients. Over our nearly 100-year history, we have been pioneers or creators of no fewer than 8 business sectors or major business movements. And let me refresh your memory, because in this environment in particular, we sometimes forget who we are and our history. At the start of the 20th century, at the founding of Entrecanales y Tábora, Mr. José Entrecanales Ibarra founded Hidrocivil, one of the first, if not the first, private civil works construction company. At that time, civil works were built by public bodies, river basin authorities, railway administrations, and so on and so forth. And he founded this company with his partner, Manuel. Today, this is the only sector, I would say the only one, where Spain is the undisputed world leader. You can claim some credit for that. In the 1980s, we created Spain's first independent asset manager. And this morning, by the way, I said that from memory. I even checked it on ChatGPT, and I asked ChatGPT who was Spain's first independent asset manager, and to my great satisfaction, the answer was Bestinver, so you can try it yourselves. In the 1990s, with Airtel, we helped launch the mobile telecom sector. We were the first in that major consortium to create the first private mobile telecommunications company. There was a monopoly at the time held by Telefonica, but we were the first to launch it privately. In that same decade, we began building the renewable energy sector. We started around 1995, and I don't need to tell you that we are one of the global leaders in this industry. At the start of the 21st century, and this is number 5, fortunately it's not that cold out here, in the 2000s we developed the reverse osmosis desalination sector, where we are also global leaders. Also in the early 2000s, we created a small wind turbine manufacturer called ACCIONA Wind Power, which later, after its merger with Nordex in 2016, I believe, became the undisputed European leader and the world's second largest manufacturer, excluding China. Finally, in recent years, we have been trying to create a new segment of sustainable urban mobility. I'm not sure whether we will fully succeed, but for now, it's fair to say that the segment is still quite small. Yet we're leaders in Spain in our category and in Europe in electric motorcycles. And of course, underlying all these activities and all these ventures our company has undertaken over the years, at the start of this century, we introduced the concept of sustainability as the strategic pillar of our business activity. And let me remind you that we were the ones who proposed to the Royal Spanish Academy that the term sustainability be added to its dictionary. All of these are historic contributions to social progress and to the economic development of the countries where we work, especially Spain. I don't think many companies can claim the same, and I'm saying this sincerely. In our DNA, we carry technical rigor, innovation, creativity, and above all, a commitment to society. And of course, over the past decade, we have paid, as David told me, 30 million euros in taxes. We provide work to more than 30,000 suppliers and their employees, and we employ directly more than 66,000 people globally, 26,000 of them in Spain. I say all of this for one reason, so that you feel proud to belong to ACCIONA and of your contribution to society in each country where we work, where you work. Don't let anything or anyone tell you otherwise. Be proud to work at ACCIONA. Thank you for your commitment, for believing in this project, and for fighting for it every day. Let's keep moving forward together with the same conviction and enthusiasm as always, fully aware that our future depends only on us. I send you all a big hug, to those of you here, of course, and to those watching online. And to those of you who celebrate Christmas, I wish you a very Merry Christmas. And to those of you who don't celebrate Christmas because of your faith or because you come from other regions and other cultures, I also want to send you the values that inspire us at Christmas. My best wishes for peace, solidarity, generosity, respect, joy, and above all, gratitude. Thank you very much.